Tune in to watch our communities grow. See how our citizens, local governments, small businesses, schools, and our local sports teams are coming together and partnering to make the difference. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Community Difference, a show where the small business owners, community leaders, first responders, veterans, teachers, and all of the outstanding people in our communities can share their stories, experiences, current events, and leadership examples that are having a positive impact in our communities in ways that can make the difference for us all.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Difference. I am your host, Nathan Smith. As always, powered by the Difference live stream, radio, and podcast. We are thrilled that you are logging in, tuning in, joining us this afternoon. We have a great show in store for you as we ramp into the, I guess, getting close to the end of, what month is it? March, end of March. Yeah. Man, a lot of Tuesdays in this month, I guess 5 of them. So we will have one more show. We are going to actually have a show on the 5th Tuesday, next Tuesday, 29th. I've got that show already planned out. We have got one city, Plano, Texas, that we have kind of come on board and is doing a specific show, which is ultimately our goal and vision for the Community Difference. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Plano will be the second Tuesday of every month. So the Community Difference Plano, we will have Plano businesses, chamber members. Obviously, if you have, we're working with school board folks, churches, citizens, whatever, first responders, obviously a big part of community life. And I'll just go ahead and talk for a second about the vision of the Community Difference. Is, Lyndon and I talked, Lyndon Wilson, the creator of The Difference, the godfather, the guru, if you will. And when The Difference started, it was really set up to answer one question: why do some businesses succeed and some businesses fail, right? And there's obviously the like, know, and trust factor. We talk about that a lot here. There's the how well you're doing, what product you have, what needs you're meeting in the marketplace, et cetera. But ultimately, it comes down to not enough people know about you, know what you're doing. So The Difference started as a means of really bringing awareness to local businesses, that they could work with each other, partner with each other, give a voice to what they're doing, how they can benefit the community, and then, of course, vice versa. And then from there, we started realizing that, there's such a need for community synergy, right? What do I mean by that? Well, obviously, in your smaller communities, 200,000-300,000 and less people, which may not seem small. It may seem giant to you if you come from a town of like 150 people, but nonetheless, not necessarily always on the map, right? Our local cities, know of the suburb areas and whatnot. But in terms of, why somebody would come in and visit your city, why somebody would come and move to your city. But also there's so much going on in each of our communities that if we're not plugged into some sort of local news, and I don't mean like the local news at 5 p.m. on NBC. I mean like, a local paper or local, website, whatever your community's website is, right? Different types of groups on Facebook or social media. A lot of times there's things happening that they just kind of go right under our noses, right? We don't realize the things that are happening in our communities. And so there is an ample amount of negativity that exists in our world. Probably not a big surprise. I don't care what your political affiliation is. You can find some newscast that'll either bolster that or make you mad, right? Well, we wanted to highlight the fact that, we can all get frustrated about stuff, but there's so much more good happening in our communities and in the country in the whole. But really, our lives are most affected not by things nationally, but by things locally. And we don't put a lot of time into that. We don't put a lot of energy into getting involved in our communities, getting to know our neighbors. We've really, as technology has connected us more from a time standpoint, a time saver standpoint, it's often disconnected us from a relationship standpoint. And so, yes, everybody's on Facebook, but how many people have friends on Facebook? They don't even know how they became friends, right? I certainly do. Depends on how you're using Facebook, right? So building relationships, that's why I love being a part of master networks, whatever. If you're a part of a network group, that's awesome. I love it because I'm building relationships with no necessary assumptions attached to it, right? How can I serve the people that I connect with? And when you give to give, you inevitably will end up receiving in some capacity or another. So that's a big part of what we're doing here at The Difference. What I like to do, not only in my own business, but when I network and partner with people. And so we want to do that on a larger scale platform that continues to grow. I think The Difference had 1.5 million views last year. Now, you think of like a podcast or a live stream, that's not Joe Rogan, obviously, but it's growing, and it's 1.5 million or 1.5 million more views than you would have had if you hadn't been a part of The Difference. You hadn't come on and talked about business and what you're doing and what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, all the different nonprofits and organizations that we had on. So as we continue to grow, that's our vision, right? That's what we want to accomplish. And so we're continuing to want to partner with individual cities because we want to bring all those elements that I mentioned earlier to highlight those different elements in your city, right? So we've already got Plano on board. So the other weeks throughout the month of the Community Difference is just kind of a free-for-all for all the surrounding North Texas areas and cities. And so we've got I guess Allen and Plano kind of represented today, as well as Roy City. We'll talk in just a moment to our guests, but I wanted to offer you guys something that I find useful, just at the beginning of each show, just talk about some lessons that I've learned either personally or things that I've heard throughout the week that help me in business that I hope will help you in business. And so I want to share a story. I was at a leadership meeting with our networking group on Friday, and a gentleman stood up and was sharing this awesome story about his son who was on a field trip, and they're going out, they're doing all this, it was kind of sound like a ropes course or just something kind of out in the woods, right? Which is kind of scary, but also like really awesome at the same time. And so the teacher had all these little groups of people, groups of students. And she says, okay, she blindfolds them first, right? And she has everybody, kind of with their right hand pick up a rope, right? So they got this rope. So they're working their way down this rope, right? Blindfolded. Well, what they don't realize is that in the course of what she's doing, she's taken the end of that rope and she's tied it together. So now they're slowly working through, but they're really just going in a circle. Okay. And beforehand, she goes, you're allowed to ask me 2 questions. Okay. Question number 1 is, what is this? Like, what's going on here? And question number 2 is, can I have help? What is it? Can I have help? And so you've got all these students who are, I don't know if they're stubborn. They don't want to ask for help. They're just kind of walking around the circle. And if I recall, I don't think anybody asked for help. Maybe one student finally asked for help. But what was going to happen if they asked for help was that she was going to walk over there, take the blindfold off, and take them out of the circle. There's the answer. They've beaten the puzzle. And obviously there's something to be said about, trying to figure something out of your own and the tenacity that it takes to be successful. But the lesson of that story that I found pretty connecting and profound is sometimes we get so in our heads that it's probably what led us to be business owners and entrepreneurs in the first place, or even in our civil service endeavors. We want to kind of solve the problem ourselves, right? And so I think for a lot of people, especially small businesses, local businesses, sometimes it's hard to ask for help. Either we're embarrassed or we think we can figure it out ourselves. But I'm telling you, there are ample resources, The Difference being one of them. Leverage the guests that we have on. We bring on guests because we think, okay, this person really has something to offer. They have something that they will help bring awareness, bring joy, bring a particular skill or service to the community. And the community obviously has something to offer to them as well. So that's my tidbit is like, sometimes we're just going around in a circle, blindfolded, trying to figure stuff out on our own. And if we'll take a moment, sometimes we've got to humble ourselves a little bit and ask the question, okay, can I have some help here? You'd be amazed, especially if you're plugged into the right circles, you've spent the time to give back yourself, of the flood of help and people that will come and be able to guide you in the direction that you need to go. So, that's just it's a profound characteristic of leadership, quite honestly, is being able to not have all the answers, to not have to have everything right, to have everything your way, whatever that looks like, right? To be able to say, hey, I need some help here. And when you do that, you'd be amazed at how many people will come and offer a ways to get you from A to B wherever you're going. So hope that is helpful for you guys today. Hope you guys see where we're trying to go with this show. And man, we've got off to a great start with our YouTube audience, our Facebook audience. And so we're just thrilled to death to be doing this. I mean, to really bring our communities together. And I've already made some phenomenal connections and relationships. And I know that that's just the tip of the iceberg for what we have in store. So without any further delay, I'm going to bring on our first guest, and then we're going to chat for about 5 minutes before our first commercial break. So I'd like to introduce Miss Haydee Spencer, and I had to make sure that I pronounced her name right, Hayde, which is really cool, really unique. I really like it a lot. Unfortunately, Miss Haydee is having some video issues. She's just going to be on from the audio, but she hails from Roy City. If you don't know where Roy City is, it's east of Rockwall. Beautiful little town, I guess it's approaching, I guess you call it East Texas. And she is with an awesome organization called RC American Legion. And I'm going to give her just kind of the floor to talk about that, how she got involved, and what the RC American Legion does as a veterans nonprofit organization. So Miss Haydee, welcome to the show, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for having me. So the Roy City American Legion, first I want to say our post is also named the Larimore Osborne American Legion. A lot of American Legions name it after local heroes, and two of those veterans were lost in the previous Gulf Wars, post 9/11. So I want to honor them. So thank you so much. The American Legion, like you said, it is a nonprofit organization. It is for veterans, active duty, reserved, retired. Even if you did a 2-year stint, 4-year stint, you are welcomed into the Legion as long as you are honorably served. So there is a requirement. The Legion began after World War I, because World War I, we had a lot of guys come back, and there was a little bit of a loss there. So they had their first meeting actually in Europe. So it's been around since World War I, and it is one of the most influential nonprofits in the U.S. So we also have over 2 million members, male and female, all different. 2 million, sir.
Wow.
And these veterans come from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and they have contributed so much. I personally am a United States Air Force veteran. I served 22 years. My husband served 22 years in the Air Force. That's how I met him, but that's a whole nother story. My dad was a Vietnam vet in the Green Beret with the United States Army. My father-in-law was a vet. He did 4-6 years in the Navy. So I come from a history of veterans in my life. But going back to the Legion, their motto is Veterans Strengthening America. And that's what we choose to do. A lot of our organizations give back to the community. I love the way you said you give to give, because that's really what we're here for. And that's we also...
I was going to ask you, first I was going to ask you how you got involved, but I think judging by your military pedigree, I don't think you had a choice. I think you were just destined to be involved in an organization like this. So,
well, sir, I was given an option. My dad said, join the military or go to college. And I just was not college material. So I chose the Air Force.
Good for you. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your service. I know that, I hope that statement doesn't, become rod. I'm sure you hear it a lot, but I sincerely appreciate it. Anytime I meet a service member, I don't care what branch. I know there's always, this friendly banter among the different branches about
yes, sir.
And whatnot. But anybody willing to go through just the process of being in the military, let alone actually being deployed into a physical combat zone, is something that it floors me, quite honestly, that people would risk themselves for a greater cause. And so thank you so much for your service. And
thank you.
We're about to hit a break here. We'll go like 30 seconds early, Lyndon. But when we come back, I want to, because obviously you're passionate about this for good reason.
Yes, sir.
Talk about what is it that the veterans do? You talk about they influence the community, but what is the community, or what can we do for the veterans as we partner with the Roy City American Legion? So we'll tackle those as soon as we get back from our first commercial break. We'll be right back.
Today's show is made possible by the following small business partner: Home Title Live. Home title protection with up to $1 million guarantee in case of fraud. Ace of Bull Online Texas Real Estate School and Courses, offering Trek-approved free licensing, CE, SAE, and broker licensing courses. Smart Credit Monitoring helps you control your credit score, money, and identity, all in one place. Phone.com. Phone.com is the modern, work from anywhere solution for today's agile, mobile, and always on entrepreneurs and growing businesses. CoreNet, business asset and liability protections. Our business filing experts will help you get your business moving. Start a business, incorporate or form an LLC today with CoreNet. For more info about our sponsors and their services, or if you'd like info on how you and your business can sponsor this show or others like it, just check the show description or in the comments for the relevant links. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Community Difference. I am your host, Nathan Smith. I run the page Freedom Freestyle on Facebook. There are a lot of ways to be free, right? Financially, vocationally, whatever's right for you. I'd love to talk to you about that and see what we can do to reorient the course of where you're headed. I know it was a big wake-up call for myself when I decided that the corporate world was not for me. It's for some people. But I love what our guest, Ms. Haiti, said earlier, that she was not meant to go to college. I went to college. I'm not sure I was meant to go. So I could have saved myself some money by not going probably. But, hey, you live and learn, and I'm sure I got some stuff out of it, which is a good thing. So Ms. Haiti Spencer, our first guest, she is volunteers or part. Are you on the board? I didn't ask you that. What is your actual relationship, your connection with the Roy City American Legion?
I am what they call the second vice commander. I put together all different events that we host with our veterans and with the community.
Okay, very good. So the questions I posed kind of before the break, what specifically, so you've got veterans who are part of this group and you say they're impacting the community. Talk about what they're doing in the community, but I think more importantly from our listener standpoint, what can we do to support them, empower them, help them in what that relationship looks like?
Well, I will give you an example of something we just did recently. Here in Roy City, we also have what is the Roy City Medical Lodge. I guess it's another term for like a nursing home and a rehab. We have 25 veterans who are there. They're not part of our Legion, but that does not matter to us, the affiliation. The important thing is they're a veteran. So what we did, and this is our second drive that we did, is we did a fuzzy warm sock drive for our veterans and the residents at the lodge. So they have 100 residents. So what I did, I reached out to several of our communities, our businesses. I said, look, we would like to do a sock drive. Can we put a poster? Can we put a cute little Valentine basket? And we were so overwhelmed with socks for our veterans and the residents there that we actually had such an influx. We also donated to Trinity Hospice in Rockwall. So the heart is there. And it's like you said, it's important for us to get out there to let the community know we exist. But, it's so hard in today's technology. Our group is a group of veterans, and a lot of us are seniors. So, doing the difference, getting on Facebook, trying to stay up with technology is very difficult because it's just not in our forefront. That's not what we do. So even just trying to get with you on here, I've learned a lot, which is great, but it helps us get out there. And that's, I think, what we need to do. How can we get out there more and more? And your venue is a great help to us. That's why I reached out to you.
Well, that's awesome. And I mean, even being able to provide a voice in a small way is obviously very meaningful to myself as the host of the Community Difference, but I know Lyndon and our larger audience as well. we've got about 1 minute here before I'm going to kind of pivot to our other guests. And I've obviously asked you to stay on because I want to bring everybody back in at the end, Miss.
Yes, sir.
But what do you think? And this is a tough question, because we talk about, we hear stories about, that vets just aren't getting the care, the attention they need. Obviously, depending on where you served, when you served, what you did while you served, what you were exposed to, determines kind of what your life looks like after you get back. But so there's all varying degrees of need and functionality and whatnot. But where do you think the real struggle is in terms of, why are so many veterans maybe not getting the help that they need, or the honor really that they need, the care that they need, whatever that looks like, that's leading to these stories that you hear tragically all the time?
Well, I'm going to go back to a little bit with Vietnam veterans, if you don't mind.
Sure.
When our guys came home from the war, they were not welcomed. They were told, when you come back, we don't recommend that you wear the uniform, because there was such controversy. So there was that lack of respect. They did what their country called them for. So that lack of appreciation for our Vietnam vets weighed heavy on our men and women who came back. My father rarely talked about it. He talked about the good stories, which I'm always grateful for. But our men don't come back, and our women don't come back and talk about it. Even with the Iraqi war and the things that are going on, all these conflicts, the respect and the care, the mental care, the health care, I think it's a driving force, and when we all first came into the military, it's very important to be dependent. You got to be strong. You got to hold on, pull up your big girl panties, whatever you want to call it. We were independent. Mm-hmm. And when we left the military, we stayed independent. And it took me, I've been retired for almost 22 years. It took me the last 2 years to reach out to a veterans organization, to want to build that camaraderie, to make a difference in the community and among our veterans.
Wow. That was one of the things, I did get through college with a history degree. And one of the things that when I was studying the Vietnam War, and that was the thing that floored me, was the just tension, I guess, and how some of our soldiers were treated. And I understand, there's obviously a big anti-war faction at the time, and whether you agree with any skirmish, any military advancement, anything that's happening, that our leaders are moving the puzzle pieces around the globe, whether you agree with it or not, is totally different from the people that have signed up voluntarily, willing to be one of those puzzle pieces, willing to be moved around, willing to be put in harm's way. And so you can be frustrated with the decision that our leadership makes, but also honor the person that has been willing to be a part of that, whether you like it or not. And so I think those things were not ever really well communicated at the time in our country, and it was a very divisive time. Obviously, we don't have time to get into that. So, well, Miss Haiti, Lyndon, if you'll throw that back up, that the graphic for just a moment, and then I'd ask you to stay on for a little bit. And this is tell us quickly about this event, and then I'm going to transition. And then if you'll stay on the end, I want to bring you back in for a couple more questions.
So yes, sir. This is our second annual Vietnam War Veteran Tribute. We are hosting it on March 29th, which is Vietnam War Veteran Day. It's going to be in the evening from 6:30 to 7:30. And what we did, we partnered with the Vietnam War Commemorative at a national level. They are supplying us pins to honor our soldiers and welcome them home. To family members, we have pins, and we are going to recognize surviving spouse. So this is a big community welcome home. I know our state representative, Justin Holland, is going to be there. We have our community leaders speaking, not just us here at the Legion, but we have involved the entire community to say, hey, thank you. We appreciate what you did.
That's amazing. Now, is this... is this in Roy City, Trinity Baptist Church in Roy City?
Correct, sir.
Okay, perfect. So just make sure you take a note of that. Well, Miss Haiti, thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours. It's clear that you're obviously passionate about what you do and the immense need for these veteran organizations. So if you'll hang tight here to the end of the show, we got about 6 minutes to our next break, but I want to transition. I want to bring in Miss Leslie Lord and Steve Lester. Leslie Lord and Steve Lester, both on the board of a fine, awesome organization called Carson's Crusaders. I'm not going to butcher it by talking about it anymore. I'm going to let them do that. So I'll turn it over to Miss Leslie and then Steve, if you'll chime in a moment. So just talk about Carson's Crusaders, what it is, how it got started, and how you guys got involved.
Okay. Hi, Nathan. Thank you for having us and giving us the opportunity
My pleasure.
to be able to showcase our organization. Because I will say, Carson's Crusaders Foundation is the sweetest, kindest, most wonderful organization I've ever had the pleasure to be a part of. And what we do, we're based in Allen, Texas, but we serve predominantly North Texas, but we have served in some surrounding areas. But we provide support to families with cancer and their kids with cancer, and we provide support in means of financial assistance with transportation, gas cards, parking assistance. We also provide sibling support. Not many people realize, but more than 50% of kids that have a sibling with cancer later on exhibit signs and are diagnosed with severe PTSD. So as a result of that, we like to recognize the siblings while their family are also going through this. So we do that through, cards and gifts and acknowledgments throughout the year. We do wonderful parties. We always joke around that Carson's Crusaders can put on the best party on the planet, and we'll do that through Great Wolf Lodge and Hawaiian Falls and other different areas. And so we provide a lot of support that way. And then finally, we provide support in the patient advocacy for childhood cancer. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So we really try to focus on that month on Paint the Town Gold. And through that, we provide different advocacy efforts in terms of talking with different clinics and trying to show early symptoms and warning signs for families and parents in the community.
That's amazing. Now, Steve, I know you serve on the board of Carson's Crusaders. So tell me, obviously, I guess the first prerequisite is you're not a terrible person. So I feel like anybody would want to get involved with this organization. But besides that, how did you come to get involved, to want to get involved, and what's your role in the organization?
Well, my role besides a board member is I'm the fundraising chair. I've been the fundraising chair for going into my 10th year. How I got involved was actually a connection through Master Networks. Ryan Richardson, who is the father of Carson Richardson, that the foundation is named after, was actually the property and casualty chair in my Master Networks chapter. Okay. And so through him, I met his wife, Kimberly, and one thing led to another. And I decided to get involved. I'm a cancer survivor, actually about to be a 22-year survivor. My wife's a 12-year survivor. And I just saw a really unique cause. And the more I got involved, the more I just realized this is where I need to be. When I started hearing statistics such as the average cost for a child to have cancer for all the treatments is over $830,000, that there's families that actually have to make a decision every day whether they're going to put food on the table or actually take their child for a potential life-saving, cancer treatment. And the other thing that always struck me was over 50% of those families we serve actually have a household income of less than $30,000 a year, because one of the family members has to, basically stay home with the child. So I just saw so many good reasons. And, I've been able to get several of my friends involved to be board members now. But I think we serve a specific purpose because we're a volunteer organization. Leslie's actually the only one in our organization that draws a paycheck. The rest of us are volunteers, and she earns that paycheck, believe me. But it's just one of those where you see the need, and the fact that all of our money that we collect goes towards the families. We're not supporting research. We're literally providing services to those families that are referred to us by the caseworkers at 4 local children's hospitals, plus also McLean's Children's Hospital in Temple.
Okay. So I want to bring both of you guys up here on the screen at the same time. And so tell me this, how we can flip it two ways. How do your passions kind of fuel your involvement in the organization, or has the organization fueled your passion, or kind of now what drives you in terms of your involvement? So I'll kind of pose it each way, and we'll start with Leslie.
Well, mine started, my entire career has been over 25 years now. I've been worked in oncology. So the first 23 years of it, I worked in adult oncology. So I was negotiating on behalf of physicians and the patients, or with health plans, with pharmaceutical companies, with, for early diagnostics. So that was my background. And then when I learned of Carson's Crusaders, it was time for that point where I'm like, you know what, I want to get on the side with, when we're dealing with the children, because only 4% of the National Institute Health budget is allocated to pediatric cancers. And I find that just shocking. And then also when you recognize that so many of these families, right now we're helping more than 100 plus families in the Metroplex that, like Steve mentioned, I mean, this is not only life and death, this is the worst nightmare any parent can ever have. But then to have to figure out how to make a decision on what you can afford and what you can't. So that passion of oncology alone, just to be able to see a cure and to be able to make a difference in people's lives as you're going through it. But now to help this most vulnerable of our population and the families that are trying to do everything they can. I mean, it is the heart and soul of what we're trying to do. And when we talk to people, I mean, the beauty of this is not a national organization. I mean, these are our neighbors. These are our family members. These are in our community. I mean, I've got 6 families in McKinney. I have 4 in Allen. I have 6 in Richardson, So we know that they're going through. And unfortunately, we know it firsthand because Kimberly, which is Carson's mom, their family went through it with Carson. And unfortunately, they lost him after almost a 4-year battle. And as a result of them recognizing their own challenges, then they have selfishly put themselves out there to say, we're going to figure out what we did and how we got through it and see if we can help other families because they understand it, unfortunately, intimately.
Yeah, I would say in my case, it's twofold. I already had the passion because there's another local nonprofit that serves the homeless that I've been working with as a volunteer and ambassador for over 16 years now, over 3,500 volunteer hours. On the other side, what has further cemented my resolve to make a difference is that when I go to these functions, the Great Wolf Lodge event we do every year, the Hawaiian Falls, all that, the number of mothers and dads that come up to me and thank me and hug me and just tell me that they're so thankful that we're there to give their family just a day to be a family. Put all this behind them. And they are so truly thankful. And again, it just makes you realize that you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing.
Man, that's incredible. So more when we come back with you guys, we're going to hit a quick commercial break. When we get back on the other side, I want to talk about, what can we as the difference, how can we partner with you guys? How can our listeners, community partner with you guys? What are your needs, et cetera? And so we'll tackle that as soon as we get back. We'll be right back.
Sounds great.
The Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast, the voice of small businesses and the communities they serve.
Over the last 24 months, The Difference has evolved into a powerful internet media company that helps small businesses and local communities and nonprofit organizations create, produce, broadcast, and distribute a variety of shows, all designed to empower our communities, the businesses, the people, the places, and the events that make our cities, communities, and the folks that live there so very special.
With almost 1.5 million viewers and listeners in the last 2 years, The Difference and its unique strategy of positive impact branding has helped communities and small businesses be seen, be heard, and be remembered.
In a world that is consumed with negative press, media manipulation, and propaganda, The Difference, along with many others who believe in and support The Difference, understand that there is no better way to make the difference in our communities than to highlight the unsung heroes and high achievers that call our towns and communities home. And we wanted to create a platform that does just that. one that brings awareness to and reminds folks of the goodness that lives within so many of us and our neighbors.
And don't forget to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button, and tune in each week so you can experience the difference.
Welcome back to the Community Difference. I am your host, Nathan Smith. We're here with Leslie Lord and Steve Lester with Carson's Crusaders. Before the break, Steve was just sharing a little about how he got involved, his passion, what really fuels him about his interactions. And a lot of it, Steve, was the responses that you get from parents coming up to you just when the organization has been able to make a huge difference in their life. And so, again, a question to both of you guys. What would you like? I know you're in Allen, but you really kind of open up to all of North Texas, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What would you like the city, the community of North Texas to know about Carson's Crusaders? Not just what you share, but just from an impact standpoint. But more importantly, what can we do as the difference, or as the citizens or other businesses, to partner with you guys? What do you need? What are you looking for, et cetera? And I'll turn that over, Leslie, if you'll take it away with that.
Well, we are based in Allen, and Allen, their city government, their current mayor, I mean, they're so supportive of our foundation and everything that we're trying to accomplish. And so we couldn't be more grateful for the support that we're getting there. In terms of the needs, I mean, we had increased our budget this year thinking that we were going to be able to help more families, and we increased it by 20%. And that was our goal when our board sat down and did our strategic planning. But then with this inflation, we're seeing over 50% increase in costs. And one of the big areas that we provide, I mean, last year we provided almost $100,000 in gas cards to our families. Well, now, you know, 50% of that isn't going as far as it did. So right now we're all trying to scramble to figure out, okay, how can we make sure we can get some more money out there so that our families aren't even pulled even tighter? So inflation is really having an impact. And you know, to take nothing away with what's going on, you know, overseas and all that, but we have some families that are really hurting right now in our neighborhood. And our social workers are already reaching out to us saying, can we get more gas cards? Can we get more funding? Because our families are hurting even more so. So that's an immediate need. In terms of the community.
Well, let me ask you real quick. If somebody, for just specifically for the gas cards, if somebody wants to give a gas card or give money towards a gas card, is it pretty self-evident on the website, or do they need to contact you directly?
They can contact me directly. They can go directly to the website, and there's a donate now button. You know, if you do that in terms of just a regular general donation, then we'll put that into our fund to be able to go that route. But if there's another way you want to donate, contact me, because there's 100 ways that we can do so, whether it's in-kind donations to actually monetary to voluntary. I mean, we need it all right now in terms of what the need is going on. And in terms of the businesses that have helped, I mean, Allen has been wonderful. The community around us has been wonderful. We just need more businesses that are willing to partner with us. And that doesn't even particularly mean that you have to give us dollars, but even if you give us exposure to your members, direct people to our Facebook page, and just those different ways. And then there's actually a really good ROI for the businesses that do it, because we honor them and we respect them, and we market what they're doing and showing what they're doing with our community.
That's amazing. Now, you mentioned your partnership with the city of Allen, how well they have really been a great partner from a city standpoint, some of the local businesses. Now, Steve, you've got a good taste, a good I guess, view on what's going on in the city of Allen. You're part of the Allen Chamber, correct?
That is correct.
And I know as a realtor, you're a realtor with Fathom Realty, you obviously kind of work in all of North Texas, but you live in Allen.
Right.
So talk to us about, why is Allen, what is Allen doing from a community standpoint?
His stipend that he gets for being mayor, the month after the gala, he donated that to us, a donation form. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, they're big supporters. The city of Allen overall has just most of our volunteers, most of our people are Allen residents. I do have some friends that I've gotten involved outside the fact. I think it's very important for people to understand there's really, to me, three main ways you can support us or any organization. The first is by volunteering, and please understand the value of volunteers, because on average, every hour you provide as a volunteer to a nonprofit organization is worth approximately $25. So
Wow.
believe me, that adds up. Number two, support our activities. We have a Kentucky Derby race party coming up May 7th. We have our annual Bright the Night Gala, which is our big fundraising event of the year. We'll have restaurants such as Fish City Grill that will have a Carson's Foundation Day for their first Tuesday. And last year, that one day of donation of a percentage of proceeds brought us over $1,250. It all adds up in the grand scheme of things. And the other way is, as Leslie mentioned, just go to the website and do a financial donation. And again, it will be put to the best use possible. And she's not kidding. She did raise the budget 20% this year, which is the fundraising chair at my age could have caused a heart attack. But the reality of it is, and I think one thing I will share very quickly, I understand in this time and place where COVID and everything else has been such a difficult for families. In December of 2021, because we had to cancel so many of our normal events, our superstar events, the events that would allow families to get together, the board made a conscious decision. And in December, we sent $750 Amazon gift cards to, Leslie, correct me, was it 42 or 44 families?
42 families, and it was $700 gift card for each.
$700 gift cards, which were funds we normally would have put to use for some of our activities. We couldn't do it. And so we put it to that. And I cannot begin to tell you, as Leslie will also tell you, the amount of amazing, heartfelt responses we received from families. So, because I think it's very important for folks to understand, yes, we're in Allen, yes, we're in North Texas, but we actually serve families that are driving from as far away as Lubbock, Amarillo. Just imagine, especially right now, the cost of gas to travel that far to bring your child for a treatment. So I think we have a huge impact, but what I do know is every person that gets involved, you can make a difference. Somehow, some way, you can make a difference. And that's all we're asking is come join us, find where you best fit, and help us help these deserving families in their fight against pediatric cancer.
So here is one of the events you mentioned, Steve. Leslie, talk about the Kentucky Derby watch party. Automatically, it's fun because it's a Kentucky Derby watch party. But
we're so excited about this. Thank you.
Go ahead.
We're so excited about this. This is the first ever we've done this. So this is going to be, but we're going to do it every year. So on May 7th from 3:30 to 6:30 at the McKinney Flour Mill, which is in the downtown McKinney area, we're going to be hosting a Kentucky Derby watch party and fundraiser. And we're going to make this fun. I mean, we're having a casino come in, and we're going to be doing poker and Texas Hold'em and roulettes and all that. So we'll be able to have some wagering going on. We're going to have bourbon tastings, wine pulls, some music, pick your ponies. It's really going to be a 3-hour time where we can just get together, watch the greatest 2 minutes in sports, wear some great hats, just have a great time in the afternoon. And then be able to support, and all the proceeds, 100% of these proceeds will be going towards the Carson's Crusaders Foundation. So we're still looking. We have to close it down at 75 attendees, and we're getting close. So we also have some sponsorships available, but we really encourage you to come out and attend because this is going to be a lot of fun, and we're really, really excited about it.
Now the McKinney Flour Mill, is that is that over on Virginia Parkway? Is that near?
Yes, on Virginia Parkway. They actually have 2 areas, but we needed the bigger pavilion. So it's the one. So it's not right in the heart of downtown, downtown. It's right across the street from it, but it is on Virginia.
Okay. Is that near the Adriatica area?
No, it's in
Okay.
downtown McKinney. So
Oh,
think
downtown, the other side.
McKinney area.
Other
Yes,
side
the
of that.
other
Okay,
side.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna put that on
beautiful.
my calendar because I've never been to a Kentucky Derby watching party for one.
I'll help you pick out your hat, Nathan.
Yeah, that's more of my wife's thing, so we'll let her
Right.
the big
Well,
fun.
Nathan, I will tell you, my wife believes in it enough that she's taking 3 of her clients with her. She bought 4 tickets.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so, because she knows, as Leslie said, one thing we're known for, we know how to party for a purpose, and we do have our people do enjoy coming. We're very appreciative, but it is truly for a great cause. But we also try to make it fun.
Well, that's amazing. Well, I'm going to bring Miss Haiti back in, and on the other side of the break, I want to ask the same question to you. What can the difference do for you guys with the RC American Legion? What can the community? What do you want the community to know? And then on the other side of the break, we'll answer that question, and then we'll wrap up with the last 15 minutes. So, guys, stick around as we finish the show.
Today's show is made possible by the following small business partner: Home Title Lock, home title protection with up to $1 million guarantee in case of fraud. Ace of Bull Online Texas, real estate school and courses, offering Trek-approved free licensing, CE, SAE, and broker licensing courses. Smart Credit Monitoring helps you control your credit score, money, and identity, all in one place. Phone.com. Phone.com is the modern, work from anywhere solution for today's agile, mobile, and always on entrepreneurs and growing businesses. CoreNet, business asset and liability protections. Our business filing experts will help you get your business moving. Start a business, incorporate or form an LLC today with CoreNet. For more info about our sponsors and their services, or if you'd like info on how you and your business can sponsor this show or others like it, just check the show description or in the comments for the relevant links. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to Community Difference. I'm your host, Nathan Smith. We're in the last quarter of the show here. Some amazing guests, Leslie Lord and Steve Lester with Carson's Crusaders. Also on the phone, if you will, having some video trouble, Miss Haiti Spencer with the Royce City American Legion. And so I'll turn it over to you, Haiti, for just a moment. I want to ask you the same questions that I posed to Leslie and Steve. As an organization, what do you think your biggest needs are, and how can Royce City, for one, but the larger North Texas community partner with you guys, from a donation standpoint or supplies or whatever it is? Give you a few minutes to talk about where you guys are in that regard. Oh, I muted her. That's my fault. There you go. Sorry, Miss Haiti, go ahead. You're talking away.
It's all good. Like you said, funding, sponsorship, we are slowly but surely working on that. We've got some folks that are constant sponsoring now. And, I have to go back to what you said. It's hard to ask for help. And I think fear keeps people from asking for help. But that's what we're learning to do. We're asking for help. And sometimes you get a no, but I tell you what, when you get that yes, that warm fuzzy in your heart that, hey, you're doing all this for the right reason, is so awesome. So, and two, for our veterans, we encourage veterans to join any organization. It would be so good for you just to get out there, to become part of it. Like you said, the volunteering, that's an awesome thing to do.
That's awesome. So one of the things that all really three of you have talked about is the idea of the community really getting involved with your organizations, whether it be city leadership or other businesses. And, Leslie, you spoke about just needing more of that, more awareness. And that's really a big passion of mine in terms of why we created the Community Differences show. And so as we get ready to wrap up, just kind of open it up to the three of you guys. What can we do as business leaders, as you guys are running the nonprofit and volunteering with nonprofits and our different organizations to really garner a more collective awareness of the importance of just knowing what's going on in our community, from, like I mentioned before, first responders, schools, veterans, our different local businesses that we want to support, right? Local businesses are the backbone of our nation, right? And oftentimes we only see the big names, right? But without the small businesses, however you want to call them, local businesses, just think what would have happened without local trucking companies, right, during the pandemic. I mean, it's amazing that some of these unsung heroes in our communities don't ever really get highlighted. And so what can we do as business owners? All of us here are, Steve and Leslie, we're all part of different Master Network chapters. What can we do to really bring awareness and encourage a collective awareness, I guess, of the importance of building this synergy in our communities?
I'll go ahead and run with it to start off. I think the two most important things that would help us, would help Haiti, any nonprofit organization, I think you have to get your story out there. I've always said from day one that your story needs to be shared, needs to be understood. So you're talking about local businesses and communities and so forth. The more people, more small businesses or businesses that can share our story, that can sponsor the events, like our big gala in September. We're always blessed to have several sponsors like Michael Young, that used to be with the Texas Rangers and his family foundation, other companies. Those financial contributions as sponsors for our golf tournament coming up, that's all money that we don't have to take out of our ticket sales and stuff like that we can give back to the families. So I would say, if there's anybody out there, individual, business, whatever, share our story. If we've done something that touched your heart, I had several people reach out to me after we were on Good Morning Texas. We did our story there. It took me 3 years to get us on there, but a wider audience. So share our story, become part of the story. And then, like I said, just whatever you feel you can do, just be a person of value, whether it's with us or whatever nonprofit you want to support. But it's much more than just financial. It's making people aware of who we are, what we do, and how we can help.
Well, let me, and before we go to Leslie and Haiti, I want you to put on your Chamber of Commerce hat for a second, Steve, if you would.
Okay.
And so as we start to make connections and kind of working with different cities, the chambers are, and I won't mention any particular, but sometimes it's a little chaotic, right? So you mentioned story. So if I'm part of a chamber of commerce, either in leadership or I've joined the chamber as a business owner, what are some things that Alan is doing well that tell a story in a sense? So you don't really think about a chamber of commerce having a story, but it would be more like, what is the value of being a part of this organization? And more importantly, what is this organization bringing to the wider community? So what kind of advice would you give to some other chambers that you guys have been successful at, or maybe some lessons that you've learned along the same lines?
Well, I think the first thing you do is you try to create leverage with your chamber. Leslie will tell you as well as I will that we have numerous chamber members that have supported us, both in volunteering for our gala and other events. A lot of them donated restaurant gift cards, because every year at our gala we have basically a drawing. We have people donate gift cards for restaurants, and then we have people can buy. Basically, there are trees, there are envelopes. People are just buying and choosing. You could have a $25 minimum gift card. You could have a $100 gift card, but the chamber members have been very active in helping provide gift cards. Like I said, several donate their time for our events. And that is such a big part, because I don't know of any nonprofits locally that has more volunteers than they need. That just doesn't happen.
No one says, hey, we're good. We have enough. Thanks. No one says that.
Yeah. So I think it's just, but again, you have to share the story. I will tell you, at one of the chamber meetings, I shared the story about the Amazon gift cards. I had more people afterwards come up and just tell me what a unbelievable gesture that was, that they just couldn't believe we did it. But the reality of it was we had to do it. because we had to use the funds, and that was the most appropriate way to do it and the most effective way to do it.
So I want to finish with you, Leslie, if you don't mind, but I want to just toggle over to Miss Haiti real quickly and kind of open the same question up to you, because you were talking about some of the actual disadvantages from kind of an age group, in a sense of just everything is technology driven, everything is social media driven today. And so one of the things that you were talking about, just and this is not to call you out, but it's something you did earlier, just struggling with technology, and that's something I know we all had to learn technology at some point. I guess it just depends on when we learned it, but you're saying that's kind of a barrier sometimes for getting out the word, the need, what's going on with you guys. What can we do? I mean, again, this is why I wanted to open this up for you specifically, but what are some things the citizens of North Texas, Royce City, businesses around the area can do to kind of help fill that gap for you guys? Is it just word of mouth talking about the organization, or just kind of walk me through some ideas that you might have there?
Well, I have to say, if I could just step back for a minute, the Chamber of Commerce, what you brought up, Steve, and getting your story out there. I started going to our Royce City Chamber of Commerce and sharing our story. And I had 2 people come up to me and say, hey, what can we do? And of course, I stepped back. I'm like, well, let me give you a list of what you can do. It's because it's overwhelming, because you're afraid, that fear factor again, to say, this is what I need. And my Royce City Chamber, I have to give a shout out to Ashley Burke. When I first walked in her door, she sat with me for almost 2.5 hours. I can go there at any given time because, like you said, this technology, what am I supposed to do? How do I do this? It's phenomenal what your Chamber of Commerce can do for a nonprofit. We have people who are are partnering with us. And it's just, like I said, it's just getting that story out, and it will come. It does take time. But like you said, that technology, I'm going to have to go back home and learn a little bit more about StreamYard. I asked everybody, okay, who knows about StreamYard? Can you help me? And they all looked at me. You're on your own, girl. I said, well, I'm going to make it happen because I can do it slowly but surely. So yeah, it's just technologies is kind of a killer for some of our seniors.
Well, hopefully we can provide some avenues to make that a little more digestible. And as you get more awareness in the community, I know that people are more than happy to assist in ways that they can. So
Absolutely.
Got about 2 minutes left. Leslie, last word to you. Same question. If you remember the question, it was like 7 minutes ago. I'll let you have the last word.
About business and partnership. And as somebody in my previous life before this was working with organizations on how to build a nonprofit partnership, not only does this make you feel good, and it's, you're helping people that are in your community and you're making a difference. There's actually a really strong business case of partnering with your local nonprofits. So aside from all the squishy, feel good stuff of why we want to do it, the ROI is amazing. Like, there was a recent poll, I can't remember where it was pulled from, but I'll get that to you later, Nathan, where they polled 60% of the consumers of local businesses, and they all were affirmative that they would much prefer to do business with an organization that has a social cause, that has a reason why they do what they do. We all have a mission. We all have what we're trying to accomplish, whether you're for-profit or nonprofit. But the ability to be able to partner with an organization, to be able to say, this is what we're trying to accomplish. We can help you in the process of doing that. We're helping a area of your community that's in great need, but then also your business is highlighted to be able to show this is what you've done, this is how you've done it. And it shows a heart and a soul of your organization, not only just the business goal and the expertise that you have in your line of business.
Well, Leslie, Steve, Miss Haiti, thank you guys so much for coming on The Difference today. You guys have been nothing short of spectacular. Obviously, Steve and I have had some great conversations. Look forward to getting to know him better. Leslie, you and I need to have a sit down soon. And Miss Haiti, all the way from way east in Royce City. Looking forward to getting to know you guys. Guys, please reach out, circle back, watch the show again, get the contact information, These, like Steve said, there's never a shortage of volunteers, never a shortage of opportunities to get involved in your community, to realize there are some amazing stories, some amazing things happening right up to your noses. All you got to do is take the time to look and to search and seek it out. And that's what our goal is here at the Community Difference. So again, thank you to Steve Lester, Leslie Lord, Miss Haiti Spencer. You guys have been a godsend, a wonderful guest today. We will see you for the Tuesday. We'll be doing a Plano specific Community Difference next week. That is our time. God bless you guys. Have a great week.
Thank you, Nathan.